Queer, black, bitch, killer. Melanin that kills more than a gorilla's quad. You can't dodge this bullet. Mannequins in display windows with style that always annihilates. Black pocket divas. We put the machos in line.
Melanina que mata más que la guerrilla, esta hora no esquiva. Maniquís en vitrina, el estilo que siempre aniquila. Y va negra marica, a los machos ponemos la fría. Mis ancestros en mi cuerpo, Wakanda, bitch, pantera. Estampados y colores, camuflada en estos telas. Me enseñan estas bitches que incomodan esta fuerza. Los datos no me llevan, apuntan a plato mierda. Entender mi sitio altera, mejor tira a otra ser. En un mundo falso, pocas pueden estar certeras. Bitch, I'm a fashion killer, mi mensaje es nueva era. Rompí todas sus cadenas, me las traje como cojera. Los vidrios van, las tropas son las tres. Así el camino en pos de oro en la caleta. Te de coco que la tralla resplandezca. Que yo primo más, siempre lista para frente. Si sé lo que pretendes vivir en guerra, amar mi magnificencia, esperma predilecta. Melanina que mata más que la guerrilla, esta hora no esquiva. Maniquís en vitrina, el estilo que siempre aniquila. Y va negra marica, a los machos ponemos la fila. Black don't crack, bitch, I don't crack. Esta bomba se lo hace estallar, bazooka adictiva, se lo doy una vez y poco te llamar. Como la gripa, quieren carburar aunque sea ilegal. Tantas perras en Fendi, disparar no lo intentes. Soy blindado en un Fendi, sin carea ni la trendy. Pistolón en el fancy, jala el castillo baby. Yo soy la cabeza que saca tu joven, quieres que black bitch killer. Melanina que mata más que la guerrilla, esta bala no esquiva. Black bitch killer. Maniquís en vitrina, el estilo que siempre aniquila. Black bitch killer. Y va negra marica, a los machos ponemos la fila. Black bitch killer. Amar mi magnificencia, esperma predilecta.
Techno is the music of darkness. Darkness is the place of hope and freedom. Techno has so much power, you don't even need to know how to dance for you to belong and to free yourself from bourgeois repressions, and for your body to sweat and bother. The nightclub then functions as the place to transgress heteronormative concepts of time and space. In sex clubs, from Bogotá to Berlin, techno is a soundtrack of choice for some of the most intense, stigmatized, and taboo forms of the practice of sexual freedom. But techno doesn't come from Europe, from the Black communities of Detroit. The connection between liberation and techno is not a coincidence. Black arts are liberatory. It's in Africa where the drum beat comes from. The drums of the Ashanti people are based on the organization of economic and political power of the female heritage. In many African communities, it is believed that the voices of the great ancestors are hidden within the wood of the trees, so that they can be accessed when needed.
Says that in black music in the US, the break and the bridge are synonyms. They are simultaneous. They accompany each other. They are not the same, but they are not separate. The break involves violence, sometimes brutal. And the rupture cannot be reduced to the history of brutality and conquest.
In Abiyajala, better known as America, enslaved Africans were often forbidden to beat their drums. In the 17th century, the Black Maroons began building palenques in South America, where the sound of the drum was the technology that guided the Maroons in direction of freedom.
In fact, the Palenque of San Basilio in Colombia gained independence from Spain a century before it even occurred to the founding fathers.
In the Palenque, freedom is united with the culture of the drums, and the Mapale, the dance that celebrates freedom. It was in the Rochelas, where indigenous and Black Maroons, Sambos, poor whites, mestizos, and pardos established a culture of dance and social, political, and sexual freedom, including polygamy, polyandry, consanguinity. All the while, they were stigmatized by the colonial authorities who called them places of excess, vice, and immoral acts.
In the name of religion and God, white bourgeois Catholic customs, the authorities try to evangelize, correct, control, and monitor the Rochelas of La Guaira. Some dynamics between the Maroons and the authorities continue to exist in the form of surveillance, capitalism, and the prison industrial complex.
In the US, there is an incarceration history of around 30% for Black men who have sex with men, while the chances of incarceration are even higher among Black trans women. People and their cultures are not the same, but are closely connected, and at times seen as interchangeable when it suits. The music genres of reggaeton, cumbia, Brazilian funk, fandango, merengue, porro, puya paseo, champete, vallenato, y palenque tell very similar stories of liberation and appropriation. Inspired by the reggae in Spanish of Panama artist El General, reggaeton was created in Puerto Rico. And because of its filthy lyrics, it was banned in that territory.
But plot twist! Puerto Rico is a colony of the US, whose laws made it very difficult to prohibit.
Which makes perfect sense, because the US uses precisely filthy pop music as an instrument of torture. In Abu Ghraib in Iraq and Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, prisoners were subjected to torture, including being stripped naked, tied to the doors of their cells by their hands and feet, hooded, beaten, pissed on, and forced to listen to songs by Eminem, Britney, Christina, and other Anglophone artists in deafening volume for 14 hours straight. Black liberatory music, such as cumbia, is only respected by society and authorities when the upper classes accept and appropriate them. But liberatory arts always find new ways to free themselves, and often through technology.
The word India comes from the Bantu, a language of Equatorial Africa, a former Spanish colony, and means dance and rhythm or Maroons.
Pasito a pasito, suave suavecito, the link between Black dances, liberation, and rights for all becomes a little clearer. Argelia Laya was a descendant of Maroons. She campaigned for women's suffrage and was the first Venezuelan woman to speak openly of a woman's right to have kids outside marriage, or to have an abortion in the 20th century.
For a man to free himself, first we have to free the woman. Argelia Laya.
Through the ideas of Hortensis Spillers and Sylvia Winter, the theorist Alexander G. Waheli speaks of racial assemblages which explain the hierarchical construction of taxonomies of human biology. Well, these racial assemblages are the same ones as those applied to cumbia, whereby, despite being a mixed Black music genre, it's promoted by the industries to serve and identify itself with a white mestizo paradigm.
Black music has the power to heal spirit and body and create community. Kuduro is an Angolan dance whose movements, such as Tio Guerra, incorporate moves created for people with physical disabilities. Black music is also a way to transcend this world.
Inspired by the Maroons, Neil Roberts says that in reality, we're all born without freedom. And the essence of freedom is precisely the flight, the escape, the evasion.
The constant escape is an ode to impunity, a destruction of the last word, Fred Motet. Freedom is the right of movement, and not only physical, but material, sexual, metaphysical, gender transformation. In 2005, the Palenque of San Basilio was declared by the UNESCO as a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity.
And in 2016, Berghain, the gay sex and techno club in Berlin, gained the status of cultural institution in Germany. Self-made and modern, up the top. Shout out to my trans girls in heels in the Santa Fe hood. CC Queens, we diverse. I was not born, I invented myself.
Uy, mano, una vieja. Porque ahora los manes se visten de mujer, las mujeres se visten de hombre. ¿A dónde vamos a llegar?
¡Ey! ¿A vos qué te importa? Deja vivir. Locas, suerte, paga, locas, tú le dices charas, locas, suerte, paga, locas, tú le dices charas, locas, suerte, paga, locas, tú le dices quién decido ser, soy quien decido ser. Que si hombre o mujer, goddamn, bicho, intenta descifrarme, no soy tu acertijo, tu tradicional mode, yo reglas no sigo, si me bajas el vestido te muestro el piso, todas las calles son mis red carpets, mi estilo de puta para que te infartes, bien caripelada, bitch, no te desgastes, maquillaje con highlighter, don't forget the latch, ready pa' los flashes, soy la más de parche, ya te dije que soy king y también lo parto, como Marsha P. Johnson, no podrán ahogarme, esta marica indefinida es de cuestionar, un shout out para mis girls, en tacones en la Santa Fe, CC Queens, somos diverse, no nací, yo me inventé, charas locas, suerte paga, loca, tú le dices charas locas, suerte paga, loca, tú le dices charas locas, suerte paga, loca, tú le dices quién decido ser, soy quien decido ser, no estoy fucking o si me pinto la boca, si dicen que soy loca, si mi estilo provoca, ¿qué es lo que te asombra? Ya deja la lora, inventadas, osadas, maricas y orgullosas, no estoy fucking o si me pinto la boca, si dicen que soy loca, si mi estilo provoca, ¿qué es lo que te asombra? Ya deja la lora, inventadas, osadas, maricas y orgullosas, ya las locas, la suerte paga.